Today we're going to talk about section 2.1, equations with rational coefficients. My essential question is, how can I solve an equation where the coefficient may not be an integer? So a couple of things that I think we need to make sure we define. The very first thing, as a reminder, is the term coefficient. It's going to come up throughout our lesson today, and we've seen it before, but just to refresh our brains, the coefficient is the number attached to a variable to multiply. So if I were to give you an example like 6x, the 6 is our coefficient, obviously x is our variable. The title of our lesson was equations with rational coefficients. So the term rational, we should define this. It is some sort of number that can be written as a ratio of two integers. Ratio is just a fancy word for a fraction. So rational number be written as a ratio of two integers means it's just going to be a fraction. So if you can kind of use some context clues here, we're going to have equations where in front of the variable we're going to have a fraction. And the other term that we're going to need to know today is reciprocal. Reciprocal is two numbers whose product is 1. And what that means is, if I was given the fraction 1/2, well, okay, product tells me to multiply. What would I have to multiply 1/2 by to get the answer of 1? Well, I just flip this and I multiply it by its flip self. Because 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 over 2 is just 1. So that's something I'm going to have to use today. All right, so our example today, (3/4) x equals 18. All right, so that's our first example today. So like always, we have steps to follow. My very first step, I don't see in this example, so we're going to skip it and come back to it. 2, just like with any equation, we always want to get the variable by itself. I understand that this says divide by, or this is telling us 3/4 times x, and normally we do the inverse of multiplying by 3/4, so we're going to divide by 3/4. But then we're dividing fractions, and then we have to do keep, change, flip, and it turns into there's a lot of steps. So to alleviate all those steps, step 2 is for us to multiply by the reciprocal of the coefficient. We determined that our coefficient is 3/4 because that's what is out in front of the variable. So I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of 3/4, which we just talked about right here, which would be 4/3. As always, step 3, what I do to one side, hopefully you can fill in that blank in your brain on your own. So since I multiply by 4/3 on the left side, I better multiply by 4/3 on the right side. Step 4 tells us to simplify. Well, I'm just multiplying fractions. On the left side, I can simplify diagonally on both of them, and that really works out for me as I'm only left with x. On the right side, 18 is really 18 over 1. I can simplify diagonally. The 18 and the 3. They both have a common factor of 3, so 3 divided by 3 is 1, 18 divided by 3 is 6. If I multiply across, 6 times 4, I get 24. 1 times 1 is 1. I can leave it as 24 over 1. Step 5 tells us to leave our answer improper.
Nick, please meet your self-custodian at the dock. Thank you.
And then step 6, like always, we need to check. So I have 24 over 1 as my solution, so let's just check here. I'm going to plug in 24 over 1 for x. So I'm going 3/4 times 24 over 1, and I want that to equal 18. All right, the 4 and the 24 can simplify because they have a common factor of 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 24 divided by 4 is 6. And then 3 times 6 is 18. 18 over 1 really equals 18. So that does work. Our check worked. That is our solution. Now, I know we left step 1 blank. So let's see another example. -3 1/3 x equals 4 1/6. And hopefully you can kind of figure out now that our step would be change to improper. So I would change these. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. So I'm going to make that -10 over 3x. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 1 is 25 over 6. Step 2, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal of the coefficient. So my coefficient is -10 over 3, so I'm going to multiply by -3 over 10. I always leave my negative with the numerator. What I do to one side, I do to the other. I need to simplify. Well, these cancel, I'm left with x. On the right side, I got a lot of things I can work with here. The 6 will become a 2. The -3 is -1. 25 divided by 5 is 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2. So if I multiply across, 5 times -1 is -5. 2 times 2 is 4. -5 over 4. But let's check to make sure we didn't make a mistake. I'm going to start with my improper fraction, -10 over 3. I want to multiply it by -5 over 4 because I want that to all equal 25 over 6. Now, I'm a little bit out of room, but we can kind of work with it here still. 3 and the 5 can't cancel, but the -10 and the 4 can simplify. They have a common factor of 2, so 4 divided by 2 is 2, and then -10 divided by 2 is -5. So -5 times -5 is 25. 3 times 2 is 6. That works. That is my solution. Hopefully you can follow these steps. Our homework, which is due in class next time we have face-to-face class, is assignment 011 or 11 that is available in both. It's on the Week at a Glance and it's in the Google Classwork section. Thank you.